So, because my demographics, my viewers, are age 55 plus, mostly male. So for all of you younger guys who may have just clicked this video, if you haven't experienced something being worn out through years of use, you may not get this video. But for my older viewers, guys who are my age, I think you're going to understand the story here. So you have all heard the mother-in-law jokes. Well, I'm here to tell you that I had one of the best mother-in-laws in the world, because my mother-in-law, she didn't buy me shirts and socks and underwear for Christmas. She bought me tools. She was a little baffled or miffed by it when my new wife said that I was looking for tools, but I knew from very early on that I wanted to create a shop where I could work on things, where I could build my craft, my craftsmanship, and beginning to restore and repair and work on things from the firearms, which is what I've done, to old furniture, to these old Jeeps and cars. It's been my passion since I was very, very young. I told you the story about the 1969 edition of Hot Rod magazine. I've been doing this since I was that young. Now, one of the first tools that my new mother-in-law bought me was this red jack. Now, I told my wife, my then new wife, that I needed a jack so that I could jack things up, because that's what you do with jacks. In those days, I was doing all my own auto repair. I was not bringing them to the garage, because garages cost money, and back in those early days, every penny mattered, and we had to save dollars wherever we could. So I got this jack for Christmas one day, and that was 46 years ago, 45 years ago, 44 years ago. And that jack has been a part of my life and a part of my work ever since. That jack has lifted cars. That jack has lifted trucks, big trucks, that it was never intended to lift. That jack has helped me lift and move buildings. That jack has been a dream. That jack has been a workhorse. That jack just failed. That jack blew its seals recently, and despite my best effort to figure out why it was leaking and figuring out what seals were leaking, I decided that in the best interest of my future, that I was going to discontinue the life of this red jack. It's a sweetheart, it's done a lot of work, but this jack has failed, and because of the cost of a new one, we went and we bought a replacement jack. So this little jack is going into the iron pile, and next summer it's going to make its way to the metal dealer, and it will have lived its useful life and be useful no more. Let me show you the new jack that I bought to replace this. So this is my new jack. Now, compared to the old Little Red, this is probably a little bit of overkill maybe, but in the old days, I really asked Little Red to do way much more than what it was really rated to do. This is a 3-ton jack, and I got this from Harbor Freight. Now, if you're old enough, like we've already talked, you remember Craftsman's store, or Craftsman tools. Yeah, I know Craftsman's still around, but it's not the same experience as it was 35 years ago, when you used to go into the Sears store and your wife went to look at, I don't know, everything else for Christmas, and we went to the tool section of Sears and we looked at all the Craftsman tools, because that was the place to be if you had any interest in anything to do with fixing or repairing or craftsmanship. Everything happened out of the Craftsman tool section of the Sears store. Anyway, because Craftsman is no more, because you can't go to Sears anymore, now you go to Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has become the new Sears store. Quality-wise, I don't know. Is it any better or worse than what the Craftsman tools have become? I don't know. This is not a judgment on Craftsman. This is just, I needed a new jack, and Harbor Freight had one. And the price was right. I think I paid $150-ish for this thing. It's a monster, okay? I used to pick up Little Red, and I used to walk it from location to location. This thing here is a brute. I'm not walking this thing anywhere. If I can't drag it on its wheels, it's staying right here in the garage. One of my criteria when I did this, I wanted to make sure that it had a real low profile so that I could get underneath, like my wife's little Roadster. That's a pretty low slung car, and if I got to jack it up to put it on dollies or anything, I need to be able to make sure I can get down low enough for that. And frankly, Little Red was just barely able to get up underneath the lift points on that little Roadster. Let's open this thing up. I haven't even seen it yet. If you have a thought about Harbor Freight and Harbor Freight tools, leave a comment. I'd be curious. Getting so I buy a lot of stuff over at Harbor Freight. This is a Pittsburgh. That's one of their standard lines that they sell at Harbor Freight. They had everything from gray to black to pink to purple, and I chose to get the gray one because actually the purple one was more money. This handle is as big as Little Red's handle, and it's now this big. So pretty well packaged. It's not all beat up. Now I mentioned that my mother-in-law bought me a lot of my tools, and she did, and she wasn't the only one. My wife understood very early on that I was going to be a guy that did things, that fixed things, that did my own work. So very early, Lynn started helping me collect tools, and if you're watching any of my videos on 6 Round Studio, my restoration shop, you'll see me pick tool after tool after tool out of the inventory. And most of those came out of Sears, out of Craftsman, and all came from those early days back during Christmas and birthdays. My mother started to get in on it, my dad started to get in on it, and pretty soon I had this really pretty well equipped machine shop tool-wise, and that's so you can do almost anything if you've got the right tools. God, this is a brute. Follow these instructions. Turn handle counterclockwise to open release valve. Remove your 4 screws holding the pump, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So on the back side of this, if you can see it or not, there is a bolt. And that bolt fits into a groove right here. And then that gets snugged back up, I'm guessing. Can't get snugged up too much or you're not going to be able to turn it. So, seeing it's mid-November, and I don't know when snow's coming, we're going to jack the Willys, the 46 Willys up. We're going to put it on skates so that I can put it back in the corner. Got some videos planned for the future, both for the Willys, for the studio, the gun studio, and a few other personal videos that I want to make, and I got to access that back corner. So I'm going to get this up on skates, and that way I can roll this thing around pretty easily. And here's the deal with this new jack: if I want to take it off the skates, what an easy job that's going to be. Much easier than using Little Red. That's so cool. We pulled this thing one time and it's almost all the way up. So what I do like about this is all the controls are on the handle, whereas in Little Red I had to take the handle out of the pump, go down and release the jack. Everything is here. Little Red, you've been replaced by a worthy successor. All right, so that's my quick review of the Pittsburgh 3-ton jack. That thing is amazing so far, and what a difference between using that and Little Red from the past. I think we've got a lot of things that we can possibly do with that big old jack. Guys, if you have any stories of your wife, your mother-in-law, or your family supporting your hobbies, please leave a comment. I'd be interested in hearing them. This is all about family. This is all about community. Share your thoughts, share your experiences. It'd be fun to know that. Guys, a little bit of an offbeat video here reviewing a simple jack, but it was really neat for me. This thing got up on its dolly so fast compared to using Little Red. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get those watch hours going. Stick around, because if I can convince her, I'm going to get my wife down here to help me skate this thing back in the corner so I don't run into her car. Guys, I will see you in the next video. I think we're going to be starting the toolbox for the back of this Jeep. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, hon, go that way a little bit. Just keep going. Just don't hit. I got it. I know, that's why I'm doing this. That's it. Thank you, dear.